A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are in good. Today is 9th September 2020. Day is Wednesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this line from a wonderful book called The 5 a.m. Club. In this book, Robin Sharma says that all change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. He divides this hard, messy, and gorgeous part into three phases. 22 days, right? The first 22 days are very hard when you are trying to develop a new habit. Then the second phase is the phase in which old habits will get deleted, new habits installation will take place. And the third portion is where everything will get hardwired. And then you will find, new habit will become more automatic and you will feel good about it. Think about it. Do give it a go as well. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. On our table, we have 6 important articles. 2 are from Times of India and rest of them are from the Hindu newspaper. And then I have some headlines for you as well. To download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Dear friends, the first one is Pakistan's choice. China-Pakistan axis, right? They have a very cordial relationship with each other. They call each other, or they have termed their friendship as all-weather friendship. God forbid, but if we have a war with China, then Pakistan is not going to sit quietly. Pakistan will definitely make the most out of this situation and it will try to damage India as much as it can. So we have to prepare ourselves for a two-front war. That is, on one side we would be fighting China, on the other side, that is on northwestern part, we would be fighting Pakistan. Now, Pakistan at present is a vassal state, or you can say a puppet state of China. Pakistan is doing whatever China is asking it to do. And the reason behind it is China has invested heavily in Pakistan. And when I say invested, I'm talking about China-Pakistan economic corridor. The corridor that starts from here. It passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which is illegal because it is part of our country. And then it crosses through Pakistan all the way to Gwadar port. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about a term called Malacca Dilemma. So this is Strait of Malacca here. And as you can see, this is a very important strait or a passage for Chinese oil. When I say Chinese oil, I mean to say that China purchases huge amount of oil from this part of the world. It travels through Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean, and then from here it enters into Strait of Malacca, then South China Sea, and then it enters China. If you observe Chinese cities, then you will find that most of the cities on this part of China, they are well developed, but interior of China is not that developed. So China wants to develop this part of China as well. You find Kashgar region over here, and via this China-Pakistan economic corridor, what can happen is that China can directly purchase oil from these countries. It can travel via this portion and then enter Gwadar port, and from Gwadar port, Pakistan will provide security and everything, and then it can finally reach here. So it's more like energy security for China. But I don't think so this CPEC is helping Pakistan that much. It is definitely helping few powerful people in Pakistan, but the benefits of CPEC is not for every Pakistani or common Pakistan citizens. China has invested some $62 billion for the CPEC, and it is a very pet project of it is part of this BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative, and if this one fails, then I can say that the whole BRI will fail, because the reason is that if you cannot control CPEC in which you have invested $62 billion, then how you are going to look after the other channels that you have created? That is question number one. The second thing is Uh, there are questions asked about BRI project. There are so many countries, right? Vietnam is opposing it. India is definitely opposing it because of this POK thing. And Sri Lanka is not happy about this Hamban Tota. There are other African countries, they are skeptical about BRI. So for China, this CPEC to success, like for China, it is like a big pressure. If CPEC fails, then it will be a big dent on the image of Xi Jinping. So Malacca dilemma is all about this thing that if India, USA, now let me tell you that Strait of Malacca, the protection here is provided by USA. So in future, if USA blocks this Strait of Malacca, then China has an alternative. So that's why they have built this CPEC. That's what people say, because if you see, then Pakistan's debt is increasing, and it will go up further. Can you imagine the things that Pakistan will manufacture and sell to China? It's always going to be other way around. China going to produce more things and it will sell it to Pakistan. It will provide credits, and then again the debt of Pakistan will increase. There are a few Pakistani lawmakers, MPs, they have also said, or they have compared CPEC. So here it should be CPEC and not CPED. So CPEC is, they have compared CPEC with East India Company. You know the history of East India Company and India, isn't it? So the question is why Pakistan is inclined towards China. The reason is India. And it's not because of us, it is because of Pakistan's perspective. Pakistan has always viewed India as a hostile country. And because of this fear of India, they have tilted themselves towards China. And China is, if you can see big picture, China is, indirectly, I would say, abusing or extracting resources, as well as you can say that China is, for its selfish motive, it is using Pakistan. Pakistan is a country that claims that it is, it is a country, it is an Islamic country. That's what Pakistan say, but I would say it is just a so-called Islamic country, because when it comes to Uyghur Muslims, Pakistan is quiet. You know how China is dealing with Uyghur Muslims. We have talked about it a few days ago as well. When it comes to other countries, Pakistan is always taking a stand. But when it comes to Uyghur Muslims in China, Pakistan is just quiet. So you can see this double face of Pakistan here. Moving on to next item. But before that, dear friends, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have already subscribed, then please ask 3 more students to join StudyIQ Education. The second topic is a vaccine for all. And now the race to a vaccine is a relay. In a relay race, you know that one person will run, then he will pass the baton to someone else, then that person will run, pass it to third person, and if I'm not wrong, there are 4 runners in a relay race. So finding a vaccine is just one stage. The second stage is its distribution. And at present, we have time in our hand, right? We can plan ahead. When I say plan ahead, or when I say we, I'm talking about India, right? We have time. Right now, what we can do is we can make the most out of this time. We can plan, we can create a standard operating procedure, like how we are going to produce this medicine. And once you produce it, how you are going to distribute it, because distribution is also a very important thing. Look at our country and take example of Food Corporation of India. We have huge amount of stock in Food Corporation of India's godowns. But even with this huge amount of food grains, there are so many people in our country, they have to sleep hungry. The reason is not quantity. The reason is not food stock. The reason is distribution. The reason is management of this food stock. So when it comes to vaccine, developing one vaccine, that's a different thing. That is just one part. The second part is distribution. Vaccine, when found, should be available to all. Recently, WHO Director General. Now, I have one question for you. Can you give me the name of WHO Director General? Stick your answer in the comment section. He said that when it comes to vaccines, some people in all countries, vaccine should be available to all people in some countries rather than small people in all countries. Let me throw some more light into it. So there are a few rich countries like Germany, France, UK, USA, Australia, etc. These countries, they have huge amount of money. They can purchase medicine in bulk, or this new vaccine whenever we found one, or whenever we find one, we can, they can purchase it from manufacturers. So what will happen is that if they purchase the whole lot, right, then poor countries, they will have nothing left for them, and that will trigger the price of this vaccine as well. So rather than that, what we need to do is, what the world needs to do is, we should make sure that a portion of vaccine is available to all countries for some people. Now, we are not talking about inequality here. When we say some people, what he means, or what the logical thing is, to provide it to corona warriors, to all those people who are working, or medical staff, right? So let's say medical staff, then all those field officers like police officers, and all those people who have to work in field, all those vulnerable people or citizens, people with comorbidities, elderly people, pregnant women, right? All of them should get, they should have access to this medicine. And then when your second lot is ready, when manufacturing is in masses, then you can provide it to the other people. So cover first 10-20% people who are most vulnerable, and then you can start supplying this vaccine to other needy people. Every one of us need one, isn't it? Now, governments should cushion the cost. In the starting portion of this manufacturing portion, the price of this vaccine is going to be very high. Again, imagine it with this relay race, right? So first stage, second stage, third stage, and the fourth stage. So first stage, finding vaccine, second is manufacturing, third is distribution. So when it comes to distribution, when it comes to production in masses, it is in the starting phase, the vaccine is going to be very costly, very expensive. So government should provide subsidy, or it should provide some sort of cushion, like in terms of money, so that we can bring down the cost of this vaccine. And then when we'll start in mass production, it's going to come down anyway. When it comes to India, we have some advantages. India has been running this Mission Indradhanush and polio vaccination program, TB program, and there are so many other programs that are going on in our country since ages. So we have a robust vaccine delivery system. We have a reliable vaccine delivery system in our country. We have trained people. We have some protocols as well, standard operating procedure when it comes to Indradhanush or polio vaccine or any other vaccine. So we need to study those protocols, study those delivery system. We need to find loopholes in them, and then we need to fix it. But this is the time to do it. Once we have vaccine, once we start manufacturing it, and then you think that you will distribute it, then that will be too late. Then we will find other challenges and other problems. So it's better to plan ahead, prepare all resources, including human resources, and create a standard operating procedure for every stage of distribution. And then we will win this final war, or final phase of this war against COVID-19. Moving on to next item, safe session. From 14th September 2020, Parliament session, or precisely Monsoon Session, is going to take place. This time, Monsoon Session is going to be different from previous sessions, because this is going to be the first session after this COVID-19 or COVID-19-led lockdown. There are so many questions, there are so many topics that we need to discuss. So I believe most of the MPs are going to be present there, but the sitting arrangement is going to be a bit different. Even visitor galleries will occupy some MPs so that we can maintain this social distancing. The most unfortunate part of this session is going to be this thing, that there is no question hour. in the upcoming session of our parliament. Now, if you don't know what question hour is, then don't worry. We have one more article and we are going to talk about the details of question hour as we move there. We have talked about this thing early on as well, but this is something very important. So we are going to repeat a few points, but this is going to be for regular students, it's going to be a revision, and for new students, it's going to be a new feather in your cap. So though members can get written answers to written questions, there won't be a proper question hour at all. Even the 0 hour. Now in 0 hour, any member can raise issues of urgent national importance. Normally the time allotted is 1 hour, but this session will have just 30 minutes for 0 hour. Now see, the parliament is not just filled up with ruling MPs, right? It is also a house that has place for opposition MPs. So if ruling party is doing something wrong, if ruling party is not on the right track, then it is the responsibility of those opposition leaders to make sure that ruling party or the government is in the right lane. But the question is, why even opposition leaders are not demanding question hour? Why they are quiet about question hour? The reason is, if you see some opposition states like Kerala, Rajasthan, Punjab, West Bengal, they have just concluded their legislative assemblies. And in their recent legislative assembly sessions, there was no question hour. So I think all of them are on the same page, right? No one is really inclined, or no one is really betting for question hour, which is very unfortunate for our democracy. And this is not just happening in our country. Globally as well, you will find that executives have expanded their powers in this COVID-19 phase. You see Mr. Trump, and you see Vladimir Putin, you see Xi Jinping, and there are other leaders and in other countries. These executives, these powerful presidents and prime ministers, they have acted in such a different way, and their parliament, like in our country we term it as parliament. The name is parliament. In USA they call it Congress. And I have one question for you. Can you give me the name of Russia's parliament? There is a particular name for it. Stick your answer in the comment section. It starts with this word, this letter K. I'm not giving you the answer, but just giving you a hint. So stick your answer in the comment section. So this is something that we find in most of the parliaments, that executives have dominated, and they are getting stronger and stronger, and this temple of democracy is getting a bit weaker. We are going to continue this discussion when we reach that other article that we have in our table. There are so many questions, of course, LSE related question, unemployment, economy, then COVID-19 related, our healthcare system, and there are so many bills, they are pending. There are so many ordinances. We need to replace them with proper bills. So not sure what will happen, but things are very bleak. Moving on, what is in NAM, that is NAM, or non-aligned movement, and India's alignment? Recently, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar said that non-alignment was a concept. He said that it was a concept of relevance in a specific era. There was a time, particularly during Cold War era. I'm sure you know that Cold War was between this rivalry between USA and USSR. So they formed two groups or two teams, Team USA and Team USSR, and they were trying to attract as many countries as possible in their side. So during Cold War time, non-alignment was important and relevant. But after this Cold War, it has lost its charm. That's what indirectly our foreign minister has said. So we can clearly say that non-alignment as a foreign policy concept at present for our country is dead. Non-alignment was to retain an autonomy of policy. Here, this article is saying that it is not just about being in a particular team or not being in a particular team. Non-alignment was more about autonomy of policy. That you may have good relation with USA, or you may have good relation with USSR, or both, but then as well you will be autonomous. You will be independent when it comes to your own country's foreign policy. And non-alignment movement provided a platform. India played a very important role. In fact, Jawaharlal Nehru played a very important role in non-alignment movement. So it provided, this NAM provided a platform where least developed countries or developing countries, they had some common things between them, like decolonization was a hot topic, universal nuclear disarmament. This two, USSR and USA, they were in this rat race of developing nuclear weapons. So disarmament was a hot topic, or a very important topic, and this NAM countries were also fighting against this apartheid system. I'm sure you know this apartheid system is about dividing people based on the color of their skin. So white people are considered supreme, and colored people are considered inferior under this apartheid system that was quite prevalent in South Africa. So after this disintegration of USSR in 1991, in fact the USSR, or this Cold War, not USSR, but this Cold War acted like a glue as well. Like it worked like a glue for this NAM countries, or this non-aligned countries, right? This bipolar situation that was created because of this Cold War, it acted like a glue for these countries to stick with each other. But after this disintegration of USSR, this glue dissolved as well. Jaishankar said that advancing prosperity and influence was a description Dr. Jaishankar settled for to describe the aspirations that our network of international partnerships seeks to further. Now, when it comes to China, to handle China, we need USA's support, but that does not mean that we are going to be part of any alliances system. India has said that we are going to maintain our strategic autonomy. So we are not for non-alignment. We are not for alignment, right? We are going to be independent. We are not going to be part of any alliance system, and we are going to maintain our strategic autonomy. And the reason why India has decided to do this thing is because for ages, this European countries and this Euro-Atlantic alliance, that means you have this European nations, and then across Atlantic you have Canada and USA. These countries, they used to call each other like brothers, and they used to support each other. There was this alliance between them. But then Mr. Trump came in, and he said that if you want to stay under this umbrella of NATO, then you have to provide money, you have to provide 2% of your GDP. That's what it was decided early on when this NATO was formed, but there were so many countries, they were not giving their share of money. They were not contributing, and Mr. Trump was very harsh on them, and he did many things that has, you can say, weakened this NATO system. And this is the reason back in 2019 we have seen that Turkey has constantly pushed, or constantly it was against USA in various different spheres, or when it comes to various different topics. Turkey, being part of NATO as well, was going against USA. Then it comes to Asia Pacific region. In this article, it is talking about this region here. You can say this are Asia Pacific countries, and this are Indo-Pacific countries. So Indo-Pacific are this Indian Ocean countries, littoral states, and Pacific Ocean littoral states. But if we go back to the history of Asia Pacific as a group or as a concept, then USSR was the biggest threat. They thought that the USSR will expand its territories. It will come here and conquer so many countries and influence other countries. So they need to stick together. So they came out with this Asia Pacific. But today, USSR is not a threat because there is no USSR. But now they are afraid from this country called China, China's assertiveness. And we know how China is behaving in South China Sea and other parts of the world. But they cannot do individually anything to China, because when it comes to economic engagement, they are for most of these nations, China is their biggest trading partner. And when it comes to military strength. China is far superior than these nations here. So they cannot delete China from here. China is not just an idea or a country. It is also part of geography. You cannot, geography is immutable. It is constant. It is going to be there, just like Pakistan. So we may not like Pakistan, but Pakistan is our neighbor. And it is going to stay there forever, if I can say that. If we can see another country maybe in future, that's a different thing. But for a very long period of time, we are going to face this Pakistan that we are facing at present. So we cannot change that. We can change politics. We can change the way we are doing things. And for that, we have to build up a partnership with Russia. We have to create more connectivity with Afghanistan and Central Asian nations. And this is not just going to benefit India. It is also going to benefit USA. For that, we have to convince USA that we need Iran. We need to have good relationship with Iran if we want to cater Afghanistan. And via Afghanistan, we can cover Central Asian countries. If we can connect Central Asian countries with Afghanistan, Iran, and then India, then we can also open our doors for Russia. So we can have this international north-south trade corridor. And if Russia will find good partnership with these countries here, and if we can benefit from this connectivity scheme that will connect India or Mumbai and Moscow, then Russia's total dependence on China will decrease as well, because Russia would not like to see itself as a junior partner of China. This is something that Russia is also worried about. So we can do that thing, and we can create a sort of distance between China and Russia, and this will benefit USA eventually. But for that, USA has to acknowledge India's development in these trade routes, and by doing that, by developing good relationship with Iran and other countries here that I have just mentioned, right, we can bypass, or USA can in fact bypass. USA-Iran relationship may not take place, or it will take more time. But if USA wants to help Afghanistan, then USA can do it via India. India can provide things via Iran to Afghanistan. And we can completely bypass Pakistan. If we can do that thing, if we can weaken Pakistan, then we will directly weaken China as well. So these are the things that are going on at geopolitical, or we can do at geopolitical platform. Then we have one article about Himalayas. Now, Him means snow in Sanskrit, and Alai means adobe. So this word Himalaya is a combination of two Sanskrit words, Him and Alai. Himalaya or Himalaya is one of the youngest chains of mountains in the world. I'm sure you are aware about it. If you want to know more about it, you will find it in NCERT geography books, right? Everything is clearly given here. If you read chapters about earthquake, and there are chapters about various different topography of our country, like Himalaya, and then plains, and then tectonic plates. You can read those chapters, and then you will come across these youngest and oldest mountains and how they were formed and things like that. Himalaya is a diverse ecosystem. It is part of this 36 world diversity hotspots, right? And we have two. One is Himalaya system, and the other one is this Sahyadri mountains, or this Western Ghat, which covers Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. These 6 states are part of this Western Ghat, right? Okay. International Center for Integrated Mountain Development report has said that the region encompassing the Hindu Kush Himalaya encompasses 240 million people. So this whole Himalayan belt, you find 240 million people living here. The mountains are resilient, but when it comes to inhabitants, people are very vulnerable, because we don't have proper resources. When I say resources, I mean to say that artificial resources. We have not created that good roads, good facilities, right? Then institutional capacity is quite weak. Infrastructure is poor. Information about climate change and other things are not available here in good quantity and quality. And because of this lack of opportunity, so many people, particularly men, they have migrated from this region, and they are working in urban area, women, they have to stay in this region, in Himalaya region. They have to look after kids as well as elderly people, so there is too much pressure on women as well. And it's very tricky for both men as well as women. For women, it is too much pressure. For men, the pressure is more about, for women, the pressure is about looking after family and making sure that the family goes on and on, the things, or the home, maintaining the home and food and everything goes on. For a man, the most important thing is that he should earn money in city area and send back some money to the family, so they can run the family back home. But if we develop things here, right, sustainable development, if we can do sustainable development in this region, there are so many things that we can create here. Like organic farming has always been part of Himalayan region. Local food system, we can revive it. There are so many other mountain products. We can create adventure sports hubs over here, or adventure sports circles in this region. We can integrate this marketing system. There are so many special things that can be given GI tags, and they can be sold around the world. Healthy livestock management practices and medicinal plants are available here, so you can manufacture these plants, and Ayurveda and so many things are quite famous nowadays. So this can create more jobs and economic opportunities for people in this region. Today is 9th September, and this is the main reason why we are talking about this topic, is because back in 2014, Uttarakhand government declared 9th September as Himalaya Divas, and this is the day on which we need to think about the people as well as these mountains, and they are in sync with each other. You cannot extract, or you cannot take out people and just think about mountain. You cannot just think about people and take out mountain. You have to think it as an ecosystem, right? We have to think about the water system, the mountains, the jungle, the living beings over here, the roots and herbs, or this jadi booty, and the daily earning of these people. Moving on to the last topic of the day, no questions. Now we were talking about question hour. So what is question hour? Question hour in Parliament is an hour when MPs, members of Parliament, they get to cross-question and interrogate ministers on urgent issues. So mostly opposition leaders, right? This question hour provides them a platform or a proper session in which they can question the act of government. Question hour is a crucial democratic institution by which people's representative hold a powerful executive accountable. But as we know, that upcoming session is not going to have any question hour. What you can do is you can give written questions, and you will get scripted answers from ministers, and this is not going to be beneficial for our democracy. In fact, we need to ask more questions to government now, because we are living in a very extraordinary time. COVID related question, LSA related question, economy related questions. There are so many pending bills, and there are so many other things that are going on. Unfortunately, we find that opposition leader like Rahul Gandhi didn't ask a single question in question hour in the 16th Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Modi hardly devotes much time to cut and thrust of parliamentary debate, staying quietly during contentious parliamentary debates like triple talaq and Article 370 last year. The reason why these big leaders are not taking that much interest, or they are not that much active in parliament, is because of this increasing disjunction, or there is, you don't need, in simple words, we can say that you don't need parliament to win elections. Your performance in parliament will not decide your victory. There was a time when Atal Bihari Vajpayee, we know that he's very famous for his speeches in parliament. Nehruji, he used to, he has, if I'm not wrong, he used to attend each and every day of the session in parliament. And it's not just about these two leaders. There are other leaders like Bhupesh Gupta, Nath Pai, Minu Mansi. These people, they were talented when it comes to parliament. But nowadays, these MPs or ruling leaders, they don't need parliament to be in limelight. They have this media, and the cameras are always on there. They have social media and other platforms, so they interact using it rather than parliament. So that is a sad part, because parliaments are temple of our democracy, and we know that during the start of this COVID-19, this MP-led or MP-lads, that is financial allotment that was given to member of parliament, this was also scrapped. And we are living in a very polarized society, and this is a pattern that whenever you will find that society is polarized, the parliament will become dysfunctional. Just imagine the confidence of Facebook now. You know what happened with Facebook in like this post and aggressive or violent or this disturbing posts that are posted by some MPs, and then we find this tutu meme thing going on between Congress and BJP. Shashi Tharoor on one side, and then there was some other person from BJP. They were fighting with each other. They were arguing with each other rather than parliamentary committee summoning Facebook heads and questioning them. So this will give a sort of confidence to this sort of companies. Like they will, it's an indication that you are very powerful. You are even powerful. Your company is more powerful than our system. And that is sad for democracy. The first Lok Sabha had 677 sittings. The 16th Lok Sabha had just 226 sittings, right? So rather than building a new parliament building, what we need to do is we need to build better democracy within our parliament. Think about it. And that's everything from my side today. These are some news items. You can download the PDF and go through it. And I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.